How's it going, guys? This is Kenny from Slurve.com, and I'm back again to go over my favorite cash game picks for the AT&T Byron Nelson this week. Before we get into that, let's recap my picks from the last week's Players' Championship. My picks were Ricky Fowler, Matt Kuchar, Russell Knox, and Mark Leishman. Fowler missed the cut, and maybe the Players' Championship winner's curse is true. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it seems that previous winners, the next time they come and play, they struggle. They miss the cut or finish very, very high. I decided to ignore this, calling it a fluke, but it actually happened, so maybe there's some merit to it. Fowler struggled on the greens and couldn't buy a putt. He had 9 birdies, but a couple of doubles cost him the weekend. Luckily, he was the only one of these 4 picks that missed the cut. The other 3 made them. First off, Matt Kuchar made the cut, played well, finishing in a tie for 3rd. Played solid golf, won himself a nice chunk of change. Russell Knox played very, very well, made the cut, except for one hole where he just blew up. On Saturday, he played the 17th hole, the iconic Island Green at Sawgrass, at 6 over. He shot a 9 on that hole. If he had just parred that hole, if he ended up finishing -5 and in a tie for 19th place, but if he just parred that hole, he would have finished in 2nd place and won over $1 million. So he's probably kicking himself a little bit for that one. Lastly, Mark Leishman made the cut, but it was dicey. The second round couldn't be completed on Friday, so they had to finish on Saturday morning. He needed to make 3 birdies at least to make the cut in his last 6 holes on Saturday morning, and he did. So that was really nice to wake up to him making the cut, because I didn't think he had a chance. He ended up finishing fairly low. He didn't do that great. I think he finished 64th, but he got scoring on DK scoring all 4 days, which is really what you need when it comes to cash games on DraftKings. So let's move on to the Byron Nelson, which is going to be played at the TPC Four Seasons in Irving, Texas. Some stats that I will be keying on this week are good drive percentage, which is a combination of fairways hit off the tee and green in the regulations from off the fairway. The fairways at TPC Four Seasons are one of the toughest on tour to hit, so this stat should be useful this week. I'll also be looking at par 4 scoring, since it's a par 70 course. There's 12 par 4s on the course. Birdie or better percentage is something I'll look at, and proximity from 150 to 175 yards and 175 yards to 200 yards. Almost 50% of all approach shots come from this distance, so it could be important. Also, like every week, I'll be looking at strokes gained tee to green and strokes gained putting. Now on to the picks. First off, we'll start with my high-end pick. It's going to be a familiar name. At $10,500, I'm going with Matt Kuchar. If you watched last week, you'd know that he is one of the most consistent golfers on tour since 2010. He actually has more top 25s than anyone else on tour during that span. You know, he also plays the TPC Four Seasons well. He's made his last 7 cuts there with 3 top 15s. Stat-wise, he's solid. He's 19th in strokes gained tee to green and inside the top 50 in birdie or better percentage, par 4 scoring, good drive percentage, and proximity from 175 to 200 yards. I think he makes for a safe and solid cash game play with a chance to win. This is what you're usually looking for with these higher priced guys in cash games. Somebody who you know will make the cut and you know has a chance to contend. Others to look at in this range, probably Dustin Johnson. His price might be a little bit high for cash games, but if you can make a lineup that you feel comfortable with him on top, go for it. I like him a lot this week. My next pick is going to be Ryan Palmer at 8,900. He's a Texas native and went to school at Texas A&M. He is familiar with the course, as you can see with his course history. He's made his last 5 cuts at TPC Four Seasons with 3 top 10 finishes. He's another golfer who's been playing very consistent this year, making his last 12 cuts on tour with 7 top 26 finishes. And in his last event in Texas, the Valero Texas Open, he finished 4th. He loves the state of Texas. What can I say? His stats are just above average, but he makes a bunch of birdies, plays par fives well, and with his form and familiarity with the course, I can look past just his okay stats and roster him with confidence in my cash lineup this week. Others to look at in this price range, maybe take a peek at Gary Woodland. He's another at 8,500. He's another guy who makes a bunch of cuts. He seems to fade on the weekend, but when it comes to cash games, you want as many to make the weekend as possible. I mean, most of the time, if you get 6 of 6 through, even if they don't finish that highly, you're going to win. My third cash game pick this week is going to be Scott Piercy at $8,000. Another golfer who's been quietly having a very, very solid season, making 11 of 12 cuts with 7 top 25 finishes. He has had success at TPC 4 seasons with 3 consecutive top 26 finishes, including a 5th place finish in 2013. He makes a ton of birdies, which is always good for DraftKings scoring. And I like that he hits the ball long with some semblance of accuracy off the tee. With these fairways being so hard to hit, I think that's going to make for a good combo this week. I think he easily makes the cut, and I think he actually has a shot of winning. Others in this price range that I like, Keegan Bradley. I can't believe I'm going to say it. I'm definitely going to say it, though. I like Keegan Bradley. You can't ignore his course history here. And, he's made a few cuts recently. So, his game is trending sort of up, I guess, for him. My final cash game pick this week is going to be Colt Knost at $7,800. Knost is probably having the best year of his career, making 15 of 16 cuts with 2 recent top 16 performances, including a 3rd place finish last week at the Players. He avoids bogeys, is very accurate off the tee, has great good drive percentage, is a great scrambler, and a very, very solid putter. He finished 10th here last year, and I expect his run to continue with another solid performance from him this week. Others to look at in this price range, I like Lucas Glover. I like Lucas Glover a lot. The only reason he's not in my picks this week is because he's never played the course before. So I usually try to avoid golfers in cash games who's never played the course. But if you feel confident in him, I have no problem in using Lucas Glover this week. So that's it for my main favorite picks, but I'll go over a couple of value cash game picks for you under $7,000 that I like this week. First off, it's going to be Alex Cejka at $6,900, who has been playing well, making 5 of his last 7 cuts on tour with 3 top 21 finishes, a 9th place finish last week at the Players. He's only missed 1 cut here since the course redesign in 2008, and has a couple of top 25s in that span as well. Lastly, if you're looking for a super cheap cash game option, you might want to take a peek at Mark Hubbard. This guy is a cut-making machine. He's made 17 of 20 cuts this year, and at $6,100, that's pretty nice. At this price range, in cash games, all you really want is the guy to make the cut, and I think Hubbard can do it again this week. All right, guys, well, that's it for this week. Before I head off, make sure you go to slurve.com, check out all the expert chats, all the expert videos. They have a lot of great minds that go over a lot of good info for every tournament every week. If you want to see my course description and all my key stats and all of my picks for this week, go to dfsondemand.com. My article is up. Go check it out. And lastly, good luck. Win some money and take your cash games down. All right, till next week. We'll see you.